algorithm by YouTube, and it is being monitored by Gemini AI. And it is to your peril if you decide that you're not interested, but yet at the same time you want to grow your channel, because the things that's being discussed in this video is extremely important about whether or not you're going to get monetization or have your monetization stripped from you, whether or not you're going to get watch time hours or your watch time hours are going to be stripped from you, whether or not that you're going to get visibility pushed. And this is the stuff that's discussed in this video, okay, that is very important. And here we go. So I just hope that you will give it a listen, okay, because there may be some things that you're currently doing on your YouTube channel that's discussed in this video that is going to kill your channel if you don't stop it, because Gemini AI is in fact now running YouTube, period. Share with you. So basically, I saw a YouTube video recently that said that there's a new, sort of a new algorithm within YouTube. So if you're a content creator, this is some very important information. So I went with Google Gemini because the YouTuber said that basically Google Gemini is an AI that is pretty much being used by YouTube for a lot of different things, but one specifically thing is the algorithm. And so I checked this, and it is in fact true that Google Gemini does have the actual ability now to watch videos. And so what that means is your videos that you are creating, regardless your thumbnail, your titles, and all of this, it is actually able to analyze your video. And they are pushing videos for more visibility very specifically, and these are things that you need to know. And there's also some very unfair things that are happening with YouTube and how they're basically sharing or not sharing for visibility your channel. And I'm going to go over some of those things, and it's important to know those things because I feel like the community of content creators needs to speak out about this, because this can really kill channels. All right, so I'm going to go over this conversation. So I said, can you watch videos? And it says, yes, I can search for and provide videos to you, although it's going to go into more specific than that. Okay, no, that it actually does watch, like analyze your videos. It says, I'm a text-based AI. I am equipped with tools that allow me to find, recommend, display video content from platforms like YouTube to help you learn skills, find entertainment, see demonstrations. So, and then it goes on to this. But then I said, no, I mean, can you actually watch the video? It says, this AI on Google search can analyze videos. This is possible because as of 2025, Gemini models, meaning Google's AI, are multimodal. This means they can process visual frames, audio, and text simultaneously. And if you've ever used like other AIs, they might tell you that no, they can't watch videos. Like Grok on Twitter says that they cannot. Google Gemini can, and they're using that to basically process the visibility of content creators. I'm going to go into that. So the video analysis capabilities, the visual analysis, the AI can identify objects, people, and actions on screen. So the timestamp retrieval, the AI can find exact timestamp of a specific event, the complex reasoning. The AI can answer questions, can provide concise summaries, extracting key messages. So YouTube integration. So then I go into more specifically. Okay, so then it talks about uploading up to an hour. Okay, then this was talking about uploading in like this type of chat. So I clarify I'm talking about uploading to YouTube. Okay, and I said, no, I meant you can watch YouTube videos, not videos loaded into chat. Then it says, yes, this AI can directly watch and analyze public YouTube videos through the YouTube extension. You do not need to download or upload files from the chat. It can process visual frames, and this is how it analyzes YouTube. This AI analyzes YouTube. The AI analyzes visual content and audio to understand context and actions, and how to push the video or not, which I'm going to go into in just a minute. Users can paste YouTube link, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I said, this is where I talk about, and I'm just verifying. I said, a YouTuber is saying the YouTube algorithm has not changed because you can watch videos. So, like, thumbnails and titles don't matter anymore, which that part was not true, okay? This is the YouTube algorithm has changed, and they don't really tell you this, but it has, due to multimodal AI like Gemini. However, thumbnails and titles are still important, and they're also supposed to be catching, like clickbait, stuff like that, and it will be squashed, supposed to be, right? As we know, that's not yet happened. YouTube's algorithm analyzes content. So here's how the algorithm is now using AI to analyze videos frame by frame and listen word by word. It can listen also. It identifies objects. It recognizes the speaker's tone and or so it thinks again. So it understands the video's thematic structure. The AI no longer needs to guess based on tags or keywords in your title. So if you're talking about something else in your video that doesn't match this, okay, anyways, it may get confused. So thumbnails and titles influence whether viewers click. And here gets the important stuff. A high click-through rate signals that content is engaging. Here's where it gets really unfair, and I'm going to get into that. Like podcast people that just listen, like this is really, really bad, and people need to rise up and speak up. What I'm getting ready to go into. Thumbnails and titles are the ultimate first impression. 70% of viewers state that thumbnails play a significant role in their decision to watch. The algorithm punishes tricks, sorry. So if a thumbnail promises something that the AI does not find in the video, the algorithm will stop recommending the content. So especially if there's a lot of comments about, hey, this is clickbait or whatever, all that is going to process in to signal the AI that there's a problem here, okay? YouTube prioritizes viewer satisfaction surveys and long-term session value. The algorithm matches videos to a specific viewer's content, mood, and history. I said, well, and then I tell it that it's failing because I'm so fed up with the clickbait titles on YouTube and lies, content stuff that's not even happening, or they'll use old videos and pretend like it's current day stuff. Oh my gosh, that's just rampant, right? And it talks about it agrees it's frustrating if the platform's tools from Discover are used to push misleading or recycled content. And as of late 2025, note this, late 2025, that means most recently, YouTube has introduced several measures to address these specific issues. The sheer volume of daily uploads remains a challenge for complete elimination, but they're working on it, right? So beware. So measures against clickbait and deception. AI metadata cross-checking. So YouTube is using Gemini to compare video thumbnails and titles to video content. So the videos with titles that promise information not present in the content may have their reach restricted. So if you're somebody that okay, well, I'm going to use this, I'm going to talk about this in this title, but then you go on to a whole bunch of other stuff in your video, you know what I mean? But you're not necessarily talking about that that's in your title, but you just go into a whole bunch of other stuff. That might be a problem with you. You might want to keep that in consideration to keep your video very specific to what the title is. I'm just saying that could happen, right? Inauthentic content policy. YouTube updated its monetization guidelines, okay, to identify inauthentic content. This is where it gets really tricky, and this is very important for people to pay attention to. And everybody, I'm preaching to at least some of the people that I'm preaching to the choir, right? Inauthentic content policy. And sometimes this is targeting people very unfairly. A lot of people are complaining about it. It targets low-effort videos and those that repurpose old content without adding new value or commentary. Okay? A lot of people that are doing restreaming. AI disclosure requirements. Creators must label content that's been meaningfully altered or synthetically generated. So if you fail to disclose that, just like in a description that, this is whatever, synthetic, altered, whatever, like deep fakes or AI generated news, it can lead to content removal or channel suspension. I see a lot of people commenting on videos that are like, oh, I'm so sick of this AI, it's fake. But then if you actually go to the description, it clearly says that it's AI, right? So, but if it doesn't, then that may be a problem for them. Eventually, this new AI algorithm is going to catch up with them, right? But keep in mind, there's over 50 some million content creators, but yeah, and this is pretty recent, so just beware, it's on its way. So filtering out old or fake news, well, I hope they get a little better like that because that is annoying. The inauthentic content update also addresses repetitious content. So beware. Because, for example, there is a really big, I don't want to say market, but audience, if you will, for ASMR people. Like people that just like sounds and it's very soothing, and these types of videos could be targeted unfairly because it is repetitious. There's a lot of repetitious things being done for ASMR, but ASMR has like soothing to a lot of people. Then there's people who do live streams that's just your like something soothing and relaxing, like watching a fireplace or listening to the sound of the rain, but there's no engagement with that type of video because they're listening, right? Okay, that can be a problem, and I'm going to go into that when the discussion I have with this Gemini about that, and it acknowledges that that is a problem, and it can very badly harm channels. Trust scores. So YouTube uses a trust score for channels, which is influenced by viewer interaction. This is where it gets really unfair. Because like for me, the very first videos that I ever uploaded onto YouTube was Bible reading. And I am a listener also. So if I'm sitting on my couch and I'm watching somebody build I'm watching them build a house or something in Sims, I'm not going to be on my keyboard typing, ooh, this is great. That's for something you would do in live stream, when you have something actively going on. And this is where this is going to be a really big problem for a lot of YouTubers. So a lot of
Please
people
give
do
a like if you
podcasts,
haven't
people do,
already.
just like reading the Bible or devotionals, and, but there's nobody engaging. And then you have a lot of viewers who don't even sign in, and they're just viewers. You have billions of people watching, and they don't even interact. They don't want to. They use VPNs. They don't even want you tracking what they're watching. There's a lot of those people, and VPNs are getting more and more used, and so that's going to be a problem. And then Gemini is going to acknowledge that. But just so you understand, there's a trust score, okay? And so it says it's influenced by viewer interaction. So channels that viewers mark as not interested or don't recommend channel may lose algorithmic priority. So here's another problem with that. I'm one of these people that YouTube just is using sponsored channels, and they push the bigger channels. They push these channels that have sponsors or they're paid, for visibility and into your suggestion feed. A lot of people complain, why are you suggesting these videos to me? I don't like these type of videos. I've never shown interest in these type of videos, but those are pushed videos. And so a lot of people will click on those three dots and say, don't recommend this channel. And I do that. Don't recommend this channel. Don't recommend. And I just go through my feed because I'm telling them I don't want to, like, especially when it comes to politics, because you have, oh my gosh, especially during election time, they will push Democratic stuff onto conservatives. And I'm like, don't show me this news. I don't want to, or you just don't like news. I don't want to see the news. I don't want to see news in my suggestion feed or whatever, stuff that they just push on you. So you just go, don't recommend, don't recommend, don't recommend. So if people are doing that because they're pushing the wrong stuff to people, then that can hurt your channel if people are saying, I don't want to see, like, let's say, for example, you do a gaming video and it's pushing it to incorrectly to the wrong people, and they're saying, okay, well, don't recommend this channel. They can lose algorithmic priority, okay? So cleaning up your feed, actions to help the AI learn. This is why you really need to know what I'm talking about in this video so that you can, I'm sorry, AI is here. So you need to know these things if you really want your, to understand what's happening with your channel. You need to be able to, like, what do I do with this AI stuff? What can I do? This is important to know. Actions to help the AI learn what you consider trash include use the not interested. Clicking not interested on a video tells the algorithm to stop showing you that topic or style. But then at the same time, they're saying they want you to do this, but then at the same time, the more that it's done on people's channel, it might actually hurt the channel. block channel. Use the don't recommend channel option to remove content from creators using clickbait or misleading news. Report deception. Use the report button, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, and it said, I do a lot of Sims build videos. YouTube doesn't send my videos to any Sim players. And then that's just a problem. And it's basically, they're talking about, if it's not being sent to other players, it could mean that initial signals from your core audience, your existing subscribers, and returning reviewers are not strong enough to trigger wider recommendations. And this is where I go into what they do to smaller channels. So this is really important to understand what they're doing. Buckets problems. For small creators, YouTube places your video into small buckets of people with similar interests. So if those first few people do not click or watch for long, this is where it gets important, because there's a lot of people who just like to show support, and they'll go and they'll click on a video and they'll leave a comment and then leave. Don't engage in that type of activity. If you're doing it now, stop. Go and just do everything you can to try to find actual, well, I like your video, I'm watching your video content. Because if you're just like, click for click, comment for comment, all that other stuff, stop. Because I'm telling you now, this new algorithm is the end of your channel if you don't stop that. Because clicking on somebody's video and then leaving is like saying, I don't like you. I'm just going to drive by, shoot your channel. Just shoot a BB on your channel while I'm walking by because I don't like you. Because that's literally what you're doing. Especially the longer the video that you're clicking on, and then you leave, click, comment, leave, you're hurting somebody's channel. And don't engage in that activity. Don't do it. It's bad. Bad, bad, bad. Especially with this new algorithm. I'm telling you. So the algorithm may assume the video is irrelevant and it will stop pushing it to other Sims fans. Like, that's my issue. Is just I just don't know anybody. My subscribers, like, very few are play Sims. Like, that's just, I just recently started playing Sims, so that's a part of the problem. You have to go and engage with other Sim players and just kind of get to know other community, because I don't have any audience for Sims. Like, all my other stuff is like crafting and just other types of videos. But anyways, so if you're going to change the type of content you're doing on your channel, beware of that also. So pacing and drop off. Gaming content can suffer from boring sections, so if the viewers leave within the first 30 seconds, your chances of being recommended plummet. Okay, so basically, and I edit like stuff out of my video. Like, there's a lot of stuff like you have to tell your Sims do this and tell them to do that, and I edit all that out, right? Anyways, I'm doing better with my Sims videos. It's just, I'm just pointing this stuff out so you can understand based on what you're doing on your channel. So the small creators can use the hype button. I do not like the hype button stuff at all, because there's a lot of use for fraudulent use of the hyping. People with money can like pay to hype. It's all about paying for hype, and it's a revenue gathering thing for YouTube, and I don't agree with the hype button at all. I think it's like a horrible thing to come to YouTube. But anyways, but I think you can also opt out of that, which I have. I can't tell you at the moment how to do it because I don't remember. I just remember when it first came out. I did research and I was like, no to this, right? So the authentic hook titles, move away from generic titles like Sims 4 build number 12 or whatever, which I don't do that. But anyways, okay, on to the next thing. And I talk about how it's unfair, and here's why. Okay, so YouTube gets global traffic, and much of which is just viewers who do not have YouTube accounts, do not engage at all with videos, including TV watching. They just want to watch. So there's a lot of people, when I talk about class action, there's a lot of class actions going on against various gaming platforms for different themes, and a lot of it is deceptive practices, okay? And so I do believe YouTube's on that list, but anyways, I'm not going to go into all that because I've already covered that in other videos. But I feel that this is harmful, okay? But anyways, it's true that, now listen to what Gemini is saying about YouTube. It is a huge portion of YouTube viewership does come from what they call passive viewers. So this means people that don't even sign in, and they're not even engaging. And what about the fact that YouTube's TV has taken, like, people watching on TV has pretty much taken over the amount of people watching on mobile now? They're sitting on their couch, man, trying to talk to nobody that's making that content. They're just sitting there in the recliner chair wanting to watch a video. So this is how they're dealing with that. So those watching on TVs or not logging in who rarely hit like, comment, or subscribe, it says the TV screens have officially overtaken mobile as the primary device for YouTube watch time in the U.S. But that's just the U.S., right? So this shift creates a visibility gap for creators because the system still relies. So channels that are already pretty much well established would be better off. But for those who are small content or maybe new channels trying to, get established, it's going to be even harder for them. So heavily on signals it can only get from active logged in users to determine a video's quality. So how YouTube recommends to passive viewers. And this is where this really gets unfair. So even if without an account, YouTube's algorithm doesn't fly blind. It uses several methods to categorize and recommend videos. Like, okay, then I'm going to go into this. The browser device cookies, of course, people that use, things to block these. YouTube tracks a specific browser or app's history via cookies to provide recommendations even when signed out. The IP-based tracking, the system associates viewing habits with the device's IP address and machine signature to predict which that specific household might want to see next. Device-specific habits. So in 2025, again, all this is recent stuff, the algorithm uses hyper-personalization to detect device-based preferences. For example, it might learn that a specific TV usually watches long-form Sims build at night, even if no one is logged in. Okay, so they're tracking devices instead of accounts. Yeah, why this feels unfair to small creators, the system essentially uses active users as a filter before showing the content to passive ones. The vetting process. So YouTube typically tests a video's performance. Yes, they're testing videos. And I'm going to go into that whole processing, especially those who live stream on a regular basis. I'm going to go into that, what happens after you click in stream, and that watch time, what happens to that while it's processing seemingly forever before it's finally going to show you your live chat replay. Sometimes it shows your live chat replay instantly. Sometimes it doesn't. Why it does and why it doesn't. I'm going to go into all that. So the vetting process, YouTube typically tests the video performance with a small group of active regular viewers first. So this is why it's so important. If you have a pool of people that you're engaging with that just does like comment for comment, that kind of stuff, and then they don't watch your video, stop it. If these people don't click or stay, it knows the word stay. If they're just like not staying, okay, because they're not really interested in your content, this isn't the type of stuff that YouTube wants. They want videos that people like to watch because they wouldn't put ads on those videos. So if they're not watching and they're just leaving, they're like, okay, this is not a video that is really worthy of our ad revenue community, so we're going to squash that down into the small visibility pool. I'm telling you, that's how it rolls. The video never reaches the massive pool of passive TV signed out viewers. So the subscriber bias. Established channels get an instant boost. See what I said about those that are already established? From their active subscribers, meaning people who watch their stuff and they're staying in your streams or your videos or whatever, signaling to the algorithm that the video is safe to recommend to the millions of passive viewers. But then also people that like, okay, watch my playlist, but if they're not really actively, this is where it gets unfair because there's a lot of playlists that I'm like a binge watcher. So if somebody has a playlist and I like it, it may be a podcast. It may be somebody reading the Bible. It may, it's just something that I'm not sitting here interacting, but that's where this is really a problem currently, and people need to speak up. I'm getting ready to get into that. Okay, so the monetization gauge, you still need 1,000 subscribers and significant watch hours to earn money. Yet passive viewers who don't subscribe will provide a massive chunk of watch time that earns YouTube revenue. Okay, so that talks about the class action concern. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. But, okay, so many millions block YouTube and other invasive corporations' IP tracking, so which should not even be legal. Which I don't agree with them. Like, I think that they're tracking people is extremely invasive, and I don't think it's appropriate. I don't even think it should be legal, right? Anyways, that is an accurate point, and that's another thing why there's class action lawsuits because of minors. There's a lot of minor stuff going on and deceptive practices and targeting minors and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go into all that. I've already done that in videos, but that's what I was talking about, like class actions and stuff. That is an accurate point. The widespread use of VPN, which is virtual private networks, private browsing modes, and browser extensions explicitly designed to block third-party cookies. So especially if you're somebody that uses Brave browser. Brave browser is becoming more popular, and I do use Brave browser. As you can see, here it is right here. This is Brave browser. And because it, like, if I just want to go watch YouTube and not have them like tracking me or whatever, if you're signed into YouTube and you're actively, it will, to a certain extent, it will be able to know what you're watching within the YouTube platform. But basically, if you go and you start browsing other things on the website, Google can't track you or whatever, stuff like that. But anyways, but a lot of people use Brave. But so this is important to know this also, because just for using that, which blocks third-party cookies, okay, that can also affect with this new algorithm, okay? So it's designed to block third-party. So in late 2025, note the word late 2025, that means very recently, a large segment of internet population actively bypasses IP tracking. That's right, and it's getting more and more people doing that, and I don't blame them. I'm not going to judge them for it, right? Making it harder for platforms to build traditional viewing habit profiles for those users. So here's the algorithm's response to these privacy tools. When a viewer uses a VPN or a privacy tool, the YouTube algorithm can't rely on the IP history or the device fingerprinting. They fingerprinting your devices. Instead, it relies purely on real-time session-based metrics. So here's what session-based metrics are. Behavior in a session. It looks like what the user searches for during that single session and the first few videos they click on. Like, they're going to capitalize on the little time that you're in the session that they can see what, whatever. So rapid testing, the algorithm throws buckets, okay, of trending or, so they're going to like take whatever you're doing in that session, okay, and they're going to throw buckets of trending or high-performing content at that anonymous user to quickly determine a current interest. Not long-term, but quickly determine a current interest. So are they interested in news, gaming, or music right now? So that's where they do content matching. So if a user immediately clicks on, say, 3 Sims building videos, then the algorithm quickly shifts its recommendations to similar popular Sims content regardless of privacy settings, or whatever it is that they're watching at that time, right? So implications for creators and the system. This vetting remains key. The core issue for small creators remains the same. The system still needs content that has already proven popular with a small identifiable audience before it's pushed into the general pool for anonymous high-traffic viewers. So this is about the systemic fairness. This argument that the system is unfair persists. This is why people are saying that it's unfair, because popular content from large creators is the big bulk of the YouTube platform. So how this affects smaller channels and those trying to grow. It has an inherent advantage in quickly satisfying this algorithm's need for high engagement material when a new anonymous user connects via VPN. So if you go into your analytics and you see how many people that they know exactly where they're coming from, they're from browser, they're from suggest videos, they're from here, and then a little bitty tiny percent will be from direct or unknown. What does that tell you? That a very teeny weeny tiny percent is from direct or unknown. That tells you the amount of new, like that, this type of traffic, which is which is more. Okay, this, I'm going to tell you right now, this type of traffic is the biggest thing on YouTube. How many big YouTubers, we're talking YouTubers with millions of subscribers, are constantly, come on now, am I preaching to the choir? Constantly saying, well, 80% of you are not subscribed. They're like constantly saying, please subscribe to me. I can see in my analytics that I'm getting like millions of views, but 80% of them are not even subscribers. That's because the bulk of the viewership on YouTube are people who are not even signed in. So that's why it's so important for you to go and look at your analytics and see how many people are direct or unknown. And it's a teeny weeny tiny percent. That means you are in the smaller pool of getting access, your video getting presented to that type of viewers. You want that number to go up, right? You want that direct or unknown, which is the biggest type of viewership on YouTube. You want that to go up. Pay attention to that.
So while privacy tools are highly effective at masking identity, YouTube adapts by prioritizing the intrinsic engagement value of the video itself. This reinforces why creators are strongly advised to focus on production quality. Strong hooks and rapid audience retention. This is what it's all about within their videos to succeed in the landscape. It's not really how many, you see more and more people saying, the bigger YouTubers are saying, it's not about how many subscribers you have anymore. It's not about how many subscribers you have anymore. It's about how long they're staying on your video. And unfairly, now they're trying to act like that they're targeting YouTube that aren't, like, channels that aren't getting, like, interaction. Okay? I said YouTube on purpose. Now this is where I have been very closely watching this, right? So here's something that they do. When you stop your live stream, it will say that it's processing. This is mostly for smaller channels. You will not see your YouTube chat replay for hours, right? Sometimes you'll see it immediately, and that's usually if you get a lot of engagement. The more traffic you have, the more engagement, you will see your chat replay instantly, and that's a good thing if you're seeing instantly. But if your live stream goes automatically into processing, what is going to happen is that while it's processing, go into your analytics, and I've actually taken pictures because I'm monitoring this and I'm studying this. So I take pictures after my live stream ends of what it says, how much watch time that I had, and I'll watch it for like a few hours, and I'll take pictures to see if that watch time hour is going up. Because I know that after I ended my live stream, I'm getting new watches, I'm getting more public watch hours, but then here's what happens when the processing is completed. Your watch time will go back down to zero.
No, that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Like
Yeah, but that's why this stuff is
I
important to learn, though, because we can counter this. And I'm going to share some things how to counter what they're doing.
And just erased it like it didn't happen, and it kills it at that moment. The time that your live stream is done processing, it's over. Your visibility is done. And this is why. And this is so important for people to understand this, to pay attention to this, and you will see it if you can watch and see what I just said. Do what I do, watch how much watch time you have after you end your live stream. And if it's processing, pay very close attention. And then once it's done processing, you will see it go down to nothing. And then you will notice it's not getting any new clicks because it does that. Because once it's done processing and it says, oh, well, there's no visibility, then it's going to say, oh, well, then nobody's interested. And this is an unfair practice. And this is why people need to be very aware of this and tell YouTube, this is not okay. This is not okay. So while the video is in processing, they continue to get more views, but once that processing is ended, they put the watch hours back to zero. They do not include the watching views and time while the video was processed. Unfair. And it says the issue you are describing regarding live stream watch hours resetting or being erased during processing is a widespread and documented source of frustration for creators 2025. See what I'm saying? That means other people have said the same things I'm doing because they're noticing the same things I'm noticing. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is not okay. But it says, while YouTube maintains that all public watch time is ultimately counted, and that's not true. Okay, this is what I would call deceptive practicing, right? This is why people need to, like, pay attention, okay? Because they will get by with what they will, what you let them get by with, we'll just call it like that. So the way their system displays and validates this data often make it look like hours have vanished. No, they do vanish. That's why I'm collecting data, right? So the discrepancy is in live stream metrics. The reset illusion. Don't let them tell you it's an illusion because it's not. Watch closely like I do, okay? When a live stream ends, it transitions from a live event to a video on demand. During this processing phase, which can take 24 to 48 hours or even longer for 4,000 videos. So just imagine if it's processing for 2 days and then it ends, if it really goes that long, all those watch hours, that's watch hours you're not going to get. I'm already monetized, right? So I'm not worried. I've got plenty of watch time hours. But for those who are trying to get to that, this is important, okay? Because this is really quashing people's ability to grow smaller channels. So 2 different counting systems. So YouTube tracks real-time metrics. So what you see while live, and validated metrics, what shows up in your official Earn tab for monetization. The Earn tab is notoriously slow and often lags 5 to 7 days behind real-time data. So the processing delay, while a video is processing, YouTube systems are what they call validating the watch time to ensure it's not fraudulent. And here's another thing, okay? So they're going to judge, and AI is doing the judging, whether or not bots or loop views from the same IP, okay? For smaller channels, this vetting process is often more rigorous and can cause significant delays in hours appearing in the monetization total. So critical rules that can truly zero out hours. So there's specific 2025 rules that can lead to watch hours being permanently excluded for your monetization total. This is where it really gets important because this is people's money, right, at this point. The 12-hour cutoff. If a live stream exceeds 12 hours, I never had that, but there are some people who do that. YouTube may fail to archive it as a video on demand. If the video is not archived, set to public, all watch time from that live broadcast is permanently lost for monetization. So the unlisted private status, if you end a stream and it defaults to unlisted or private during or after processing, those hours will not count towards your 4,000 hour requirement until the video is made public. So if you, so a lot of people do unlisted videos, okay? And so anyway, so you know. Or if you change some of your videos, you say like, well, I just decide that I don't want that video to be public, and so then you know, take it and make it private, like for whatever reason, then that could affect your watch hour. It can go against your watch hour, right? So if you have old videos, make sure they're older than a year because they go by a 365-day calendar for your watch hours. That's how that works. Short speed restriction. If you stream vertically and it's categorized as a short, the hours watched from the short speed don't count towards that 4,000. That's pretty much known. But here's the summary recommendations. Monitor Earn tab is not analytics. The official watch hours for monetization only appear in the Earn section. Take a week to update. Keep streams under 12 hours. Confirm public stats. I said, okay, I've watched this very closely. This is where I'm telling Gemini AI of what I've collected as data, and it agrees with me. Okay? Every time my live ends, I see the watch time, and then it goes up while the video is processing. Then all that goes away, and no, it's not given back at any time. So there's a bigger issue. It's telling the algorithm once processed that literally no watch time since the published, and it kills the video. So if you're seeing this, then you change some stuff up. So this perception of resetting metrics after a live stream is one of the most persistent technical frustration for creators in 2025. This is telling people right here that a lot of people are complaining about this very thing. And I consider this unfair and possibly deceptive practices because it's not fair what they're doing. That they're getting revenue off of stuff that's playing. You've got a monetized live stream. Once it ends, you've got all this money that is being earned on this video and watch time that goes to that, and then they're going to make money off of that, but you're not, because all that goes away. Right? And it's not fair, right? So why your hours seem to die during processing? Really? That's what I wanted to say. But anyways, when your stream ends, YouTube begins a process called merging. For a period of 24 to 72 hours, the platform is converting the live
Okay,
broadcast.
this is the real big problem right here, the merging process.
So even after it's done processing, it's still going through this, right, to make it this permanent video file. So there's a metric fragmentation. During this phase, the watch hours earned while you were live are hidden or detached from the video's public display total. But that's unfair because if it's, I don't know how many times I found videos of smaller channels and like in my feed even, and it says 0 views. And I'm like, I know that channel, I know that video has had views. I'll click on it and sure enough, it's had views. But it keeps telling people.
Have you ever found your videos in the suggestion feed that says 0 views?
It happened to my videos
and
also,
nice?
and it's annoying, and a lot of people are complaining of that. So the zero state, because of public video on demand is technically a new version of the content, it may temporarily display 0 watch hours to the public and also includes views too. and the algorithm's standard fresh video filters until the live data is fully validated and merged. And this is why it's really important for people to announce when you're doing something to, it's like just like regular videos, make sure you announce the time that you're going to release a video and giving them incentive. This is why it's important to have people who repeatedly return to your videos. They're looking forward to your next video, because these are what's going to be important, because when they're there waiting for your video to drop and then they're watching it as soon as it is released or whatever, that instant engagement will push that.
Hello, I'm going to add you, pretty.
The momentum kill, it says you are correct. If an algorithm sees a video with 0 watch time immediately after it is published as a video on demand, it will treat it as a low-performing video, and it will start recommending it to new viewers. And not only that, if people see a video and it says 0 views, they're not going to engage with it. I mean, pretty typically, right? Permanent loss versus display lag, and this is where it's really unfair to people. So while I don't want to discourage people, I'm going to try to share with you some things that you can switch up that can actually help your channel. You gotta be hip to the trip. I'm just gonna say it like that. You gotta be hip to the trip. You gotta know what they're doing, right? So you can counter. Also, you gotta know what's happening. This is what's happening. And this is the new what algorithm is being used by Gemini. It's all AI now. The algorithm is all AI now. Permanent loss versus display lag. While YouTube claims these hours eventually added to your earn tab for monetization after 2 to 7 delay, there are 2025 specific bugs. Now they're going to call when there's proof that what they're saying is not true. Oh, well, it's a bug. Okay, then. And rules that can cause them to be lost forever. So the processing failures, if a stream is very long, it's like exceeding 12 hours, the system often fails to archive it correctly. It can be total loss of all live watch hours for monetization purposes. So beware if you're somebody doing these they're basically discouraging people from doing those long, because that's a lot of data that, YouTube basically is paying for or whatever. And validation drops. So the authentic content, now this is where this gets tricky. The authentic content filters are being more aggressive. You need to know, what does it mean, authentic content? Yeah, you need to know what that means, okay? Because this is heavily targeted. So if it suspects any passive viewing, this is where it gets really unfair. Like people leaving the tab open without interacting, it's going to strip those hours during the final validation phase. But here's what's unfair, because if people are just sitting there, they got their computer on, and they're listening, okay, we're going to talk about that. And copyright claims. If even a few seconds of copyright audio are detected during the video on demand, to be very careful. Processing, having stuff playing in the background, the entire video's watch hours can be disqualified from your monetization meter. And I have gone in and I found like something that I posted maybe a year ago. All of a sudden, they're saying that it's got monetization. So that means as this entire year,
If you're somebody that uses video and music in your videos, pay close attention to this.
So it's like, okay, so immediately keep up with that. There's a tab on the left side of your YouTube studio about copyright. Click on it to make sure there's nothing new popping up. Sometimes there's things you can do, like you can just erase that track or something like that, or mute it, erase it, do something, but deal with it so that you won't continue to lose monetization on that. Pay attention to the copyright stuff on your videos constantly, and I mean every single day. Go into that copyright to see if there's anything new on your channel, any new claims, stuff like that. Keep up with that. It's very important. Yeah. Even if a few seconds, right? The recommendation to prevent the algorithm from killing your video while it processes, many new creators set their finished streams to unlisted immediately after ending. Okay, then they republish them as a clean video on demand only after this processing is complete and the metrics have stabilized. So that's an option that you can do, except for, whether that'll work or not, do some more looking at. So this is where I'm like, this is insanity, okay? Not interacting. A lot of people do things like read Bible. That's why I talked about people that are just watchers. They don't engage, or they're listeners. There's people that, like myself, I'll go in another room and I'm listening to somebody talking. It's really more just like a talking, like a podcast, or, or they're telling stories or something like that. And it's tons and tons and tons of just inactive type of watching and listening type of videos. And I said, and it agrees. This is exactly where the system feels fundamentally broken for creators who make long form or passive content like me, Bible readings, devotionals, podcasts, things that you're actually watching. And if you think about it, we want people to watch our videos, okay? But they're targeting more, well, no, you can't just watch, we're going to, like, engaging. But that's stupid because they're pushing this for TV, right? They're pushing this for, retention. But I don't want, if you think about it, if somebody's watching your video, you're not on your keyboard typing. And I want them watching, not typing. I want them watching. That's my goal. So this is really a bad problem. People need to rise up, okay? The current engagement first philosophy, driven by the need to fight bot farms, is unfairly penalizing legitimate lean back type of content. Meaning lean back, like just lean back in your chair and just watch this video on YouTube. That's a good, let me tell you what, that's the best type of videos on YouTube. If you can sit back in your chair and relax and just watch a video, then you know that's a good content video because they're interested. Like that's literally TV. Like they're literally, you have engaged the viewer. But then they're penalizing people who have that kind of content. It's like it's a double-edged sword. It's like you can't win for losing, right? Anyways, the passive viewing penalty. In 2025, the YouTube's authentic engagement filters are designed to detect if the human is actually present. Now, keep in mind, there's also something about computers, not with TVs, but with computers. If you walk away from your computer, okay, depending on how you have your settings in your computer knows, your devices knows if you're there. Have you ever noticed that your computer will go down into sleep mode?
Double roses,
right?
hi.
Like you lay down and go to sleep. If you have a computer nearby, like you fall asleep on your couch or something like that, and then you get up, your computer will wake up. Have you ever noticed that? It's because there's like sensors in they have all this data on your devices, right? Yeah. So if they're not active, if the viewer doesn't move their mouse or click or change the volume for a long period of time, so there's that type of monitoring, right? That's for like phones, or if they're not changing the volume, that means they're watching and they're comfortable. But it's unfairly flagging it as low quality watch time. So it's watching, but we're considering this low quality because there's nothing going on. But somebody may be in the kitchen washing dishes or something like that, or they're just sitting there watching and they're not moving. You know what I mean? They're reclining in their chair watching your video. This is ridiculous, but this is what they're doing, and you need to know. They're trying to stop view bots because there are people who are abusing the system. Okay, but penalizing good quality for smaller channels is unfair. It punishes someone who's genuinely listened to Bible reading or whatever. Okay, during that validation period you mentioned, YouTube's AI may strip those hours because it cannot prove a human was there even though they were. So why podcasts and readings suffer the most? The audio-only trap. Because YouTube wants to be a video platform to sell high-priced video ads, that's the bottom line, its algorithms sometimes devalue static or slow visual content. If the AI watches your video and sees very little visual change, like a static image or a single camera angle, and there's a lot of those doing those live streams where, it's not really anything happening. And here's something also, like there's like called live streams like around the world, like people have a live stream on a beach and they just love to watch the sunset, say in Hawaii or something like that, or they just have, I'm tell you what, I'm a live stream watcher. There might be an eagle's nest and it's got eggs and people love to watch, and so there's just I can go into all kinds of examples of those types. So beware if you're that type of channel. Okay, no visual change in your live streams. Beware. Okay, it's going to call your channel low effort. Say they're making it more likely to strip the watch hours during processing. Okay, so yeah, they're judging your live stream after it's done based on what happened during it. Beware, beware, beware. So the second screen issue, most people watch your type of content on a second monitor or a TV. Since they aren't clicking, YouTube's 2025 trust score, it's all about the trust score now, for those who hours is lower than a high energy video where people are clicking every minute. And this is where it's extremely unfair. I don't want people clicking every single minute. I want them watching my video. That's my goal, and I've always said that I would love for people to, if I feel like somebody's watching video. Like for my
Oh.
example, my Sims build videos, and they're engaged, or I'm doing something craft wise or whatever, and they're just enjoying whatever it is that I'm doing, and they're just watching. To me, I feel like I've made a good video. Okay, live streams are where people should be engaging. Like that's really something that is for high engagement. But they haven't figured they're not making it fair, right? So what the creators are doing to fight back, to prove to the AI that viewers are real, creators are now being forced to use interaction bait, even in calm content. So visual transition, adding a visual change like a new background or a pop-up every 5 to 10 minutes to force the AI to see movement. Mid-video prompts ask listeners to leave a specific emoji in the comments at a certain timestamp. This active interaction validates the previous 30 minutes of passive listening for the algorithm. That's why it's very important for people. If you're going to go into a live stream, right, I get it and I respect that people just want to watch. And I've always said that look, I get it. I'm thankful for just your viewing, okay? If you're just viewing, but now it's getting even harder to say that because it's demanding more action and stuff, which is unfair. The chapter strategy. Using YouTube chapters allows viewers to click the different parts of the reading. Each click is a signal that a human is present, which protects your watch hours. It's a deeply flawed system for the lean back creators. So I said, if you're watching a video, you should not be typing something, because if you're typing, then you're not watching, so this is insanity. That's me telling Gemini this thing, right? So it's a fundamental contradiction in how YouTube 2025 system operates. They have bills. They've done this. It's over. It's done. They've done this. So people need to, to rise up and say this isn't fair. They built an
Or
algorithm that
alert
values
your
active
viewers,
engagement,
guys.
typing, clicking, liking over the actual human experience
Knowledge
of
is
watching.
power.
So you're right. Gemini is saying you're right. If you are deeply focused on a Bible reading or a complex Sims build, your hands are not on the keyboard. You're doing exactly what the platform is for, watching the video. So this is an engagement trap. YouTube's current AI is optimized for retention and interaction because those are their metrics that advertisers use to prove a human is seeing their ads. That's all what it's about.
Oh, I
Money,
know,
money,
right?
money, 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 money. They want to make sure that their ads are being seen. This leads to several major issues for creators like you. The proof of life requirement. The system essentially treats silence and lack of movement as bot-like behavior. So by requiring interaction to verify watch hours, they are forcing viewers to break their immersion just to prove they exist. So Google's own YouTube documentation emphasizes meaningful interactions, but fails to account for the value of lean back content. So that's why people need to say, hey, this is not right. So the TV paradox. Millions of people are watching YouTube on their TVs. Like you can even go into doctor's offices or just basic businesses in the public, and they've got the TV, and they will put it on YouTube, right? You'll see that more and more. YouTube is becoming more TV, so they cannot easily type or comment. Even though TV is YouTube's fastest growing sector, the validation algorithm still favors mobile desktop users who can click and prove they are real. So you want to see that you have more TV viewers in your analytics. Punishing quality. So you want to make
You're
content
doing
that's
good if you got more
enough
TV
that
watchers.
you can put. It can be, people on TV would watch it, right?
And
High
more,
quality,
they don't know where
content,
it
like
came
a
from
podcast
content.
or a reading, is designed to be listened to.
Unknown
Like
traffic
penalizing passive watch time.
is the
YouTube
non-signed
is
in
telling
viewers,
creators it's
which is
distracting
most
content.
people.
Loud noises,
YouTube.
flashy edits, constant click here prompts is
You
more
want that
valuable than
traffic.
peaceful, meaningful content. Now, how fair is that, right? Why it feels like insanity. The insanity comes from the fact that the platform wants to be everything at once. Once it's cake and ice cream too. A TV replacement where you sit back and watch. A social network where you must constantly engage to be seen.
I've always said this.
This is like talking out two sides of the mouth, basically. And this is deceptive practices because they're taking content from people at their expense and they're making money off of it. But it's set up to where many people will not. Okay. When these two goals clash, the small creator is the one who loses their watch hours during that processing window that you have observed because the algorithm simply isn't sophisticated enough. Oh, I think it's very calculated, but okay, whatever, Gemini. To distinguish between a passive human and an automated bot without some form of digital noise typing. Okay? And then I say, just me telling them how dumb it is. if I'm in another room listening to a video, I come back in the room and the video's paused, I leave. And I do. I'm like, oh, no, you ain't going to keep interrupting my stuff. I'm over here trying to do what I'm doing and listen.
Okay, I'm going to pause this just for a second because I want to talk about when I used to there's something that people might think about doing to counter this, but I want to warn people about this because on Roblox, there's like a little app that you can get that basically, like, people that are like competitive in games, they can get a mouse that would have an auto active thing on it that would like click, 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 and it helps them in speed in gaming. So some people, maybe people have already thought of doing this, but especially if they're Robloxians, okay, but if you think about getting an app where people can use their mouse to, it's on a timer, so it will interact and it will click. So if they think about doing this to like try to counter this, to act like somebody's there. You know how they make it to where, okay, are you there? And you have to, like, click your mouse or move around on the screen or something like that. If you use an app with a clicker like that, they may very well be ahead of that, because I know on Roblox they have software where they can detect these app clickers. And I know some of them like, oh, well, our app, is not detectable or whatever. So I'm just saying beware of mouse timed mouse apps, clicking apps or whatever. So don't even go there. I just wanted to mention that because I'm sure that people have probably already thought of that. But, again, they already have software to counter that.
And stuff. And I will go watch it somewhere else. Right. I'll do that. So that is exactly what makes the current system so counterproductive. By pausing your video or checking for live, YouTube is actively driving you off the platform just to satisfy its bot detection.
Because if you use
And actually, they've been doing this for a long
app
time. You remember
and they
when
catch you,
Panda?
oh,
I think
it's over.
called Panda. It's it was like an internet radio. It's free and it kind of like tracks what type of music you like. And but if you're just listening, and then it will say, "Are you still listening?" Because in the screen it'll be showing ads, and it was really annoying to me that they kept doing that. It kept pausing like my playlist and stuff, so I just quit using it. I have never gone back to it either because it did that. And YouTube is doing more of this, and it's really annoying. But people need to be aware of it, right? As of 2025, several issues contribute to this stupid experience for both you and the creators you want to support. The "Are You Still Watching" feature. The feature is officially intended to save bandwidth for Google. And if you also notice, if you haven't, if you've been somebody that's been on YouTube for a long time, and I've seen some of my very old videos have been compressed to 144p that used to be 720. And
So you want to back up your old videos that didn't get many views if you want to save the quality.
They're doing this because they're saving bandwidth. It saves them money. So they have gone in without any notice whatsoever. So you can go and do a backup of your videos and save the quality of it. Okay, it's gone forever. They've squashed and compressed your older videos, right? And yeah. So, but now they're doing this with the current stuff. Okay, they're trying to save bandwidth for Google and data for users, but it's a major hurdle for lean back content like the podcast or the Bible readings. So here's the trigger. If you've not interacted with your device for a specific period, YouTube pauses the video. They do that. So, and this is very, very recent too. You probably have noticed it's becoming more aggressive. So not only is your experience interrupted, but for the creator, it often marks a drop-off point in their analytics, signaling to the algorithm the viewer lost interest. So if you're somebody who's currently a smaller channel and you're struggling, to climb that ladder or whatever for visibility on YouTube to get established, and you're making this kind of content, you might want to make some new stuff that really keeps people, whatever, because if this is all you have on your channel, this might be a problem. So algorithm safety over user experience. The YouTube's 2025 AI is hypersensitive to the point of paranoid and
we're going to talk about the score. They have a score system. You need to know about the score system. So if a video is
playing for a long time and there's no mouse movement,
let me pause this real quick. Okay.
It will stop counting those.
So there is a current score system for your channel, for your content, and I'm going to go into how that score system works, and I'm going to do another video just about the score system by itself. But some of these things will contribute to your channel score, and understanding the score system is very important because you want to get that score up, basically.
Watch hours entirely, or it will pause the video to ensure it's not a bot looping the content. So for creators, you just tell your viewers, tell them to be aware of this. Say, hey, if you're like somebody watching my playlist, will you just check in, and make sure that you do something on your screen because they're doing this. You can engage with your viewers to kind of counter this, what they're doing. So for creators, this means that their most loyal long-term listeners, like you, might be having their watch hours stripped away because the system can't prove a human is still in the room. So the passive viewer paradox, even though YouTube is pushing to be like the new TV, its backend still treats passive watching as less valuable than active clicking. So advertisers want active users who might click an ad. So the algorithm is biased towards content that forces people to stay near their keyboards. It's ridiculous. But anyways, this is what it is. You got to deal with what it is, and this is what it is. So this will create a loop where calm, meaningful content is punished.
A lot of ASMR channels need to pay attention to this.
If you want to ensure the creator gets the credit for your watch time without having to stay in the room, some users find that watching on the YouTube TV app on a smart TV or console is less likely to trigger the "Are you still watching?" pause than a web browser on a computer. So just ask people if they're going to watch, the playlist, and they maybe they have a smart TV or like Roku or something like that. I've never used YouTube on a TV. I just haven't. I'm just pretty much strictly a desktop. I do occasionally watch stuff on mobiles, but I find that watching stuff on mobiles is really not good for your eyes. But I will maybe listen to stuff if I'm out and about or something like that. That's like my little radio, my YouTube radio,
right?
Okay, if you will. But I think you need to know these things because if you're somebody who is an active listener type of viewer, okay, to help you support the channels that you're listening to, if you will, and if you're somebody that has a lot of this type of content, let your viewers know. Put a disclaimer, say something in your description, and then maybe in the title of your video say, please read description, very important, or something like that. Or maybe put it on your about page or something like that, and just say, look, and then put it in your description, say, please be aware this new algorithm step is really hurting smaller creators. So if you're somebody who watches my playlist or whatever, especially if you're a binge watcher, right, and say, please, will you just interact, engage? It will just help me so much because if you don't, they're literally gonna, it hurts the channel or whatever. And maybe do a video about this and then put a link to the video so it explains it in more detail so they'll know what the heck you're talking about, But this is it. This is the new, what YouTube is doing and what people need to know, and I would really appreciate it if you would engage with this video, like it, comment, and maybe share it, and let other people know that, hey, we all need to, as a community of content creators, and even viewers too, because even viewers are annoyed by this. It's not just the content creators. The viewers are affected in a negative way by this stuff, right? And yeah, and I'm more understanding of what's happening now, but it did used to annoy me when it would just it's interrupting me by telling me that, I have to come over here and tell them that I'm still here. I'm like, okay, if you're going to interrupt me, then there's radios, or, there's other, just, I don't like to deal with that, but, understanding, so the audience, like myself, understands what's happening, and maybe there'll be a little more understanding to what's happening so that they don't leave, let them know that, hey, you're somebody that's spending your time and your effort to create this content for them, and please just, accept that YouTube is doing this, other than complain to them like, hey, you need to make this more fair. I mean, if people really want to fight this, they can go to FCC and say, hey, we feel like this is deceptive practicing, because they're still making money, and this is, like I said up here, it's their cake and their ice cream too, and it's unfair. You can't tell the content creators to create a sit back and watch type of video where they're just watching because it's that good of a video, and they've got them engaged. They've got them hooked into the video where they're sitting there in their recliner and they're watching it, and at the same time tell them they have to constantly engage or they're going to lose all their monetization, and that's deceptive practicing. That is unfair deceptive practicing, and you can go to FCC with that if enough people get together or whatever and say, hey, this is not okay. It's not okay. Usually when it comes to minors, they will see a bunch of class actions. There's a whole flurry of that stuff going on. I've done videos about that also. You know, But anyways, that's it for this one, and appreciate you if you're still here or whatever. And I hope that there's
Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple things real quick for in the stream. Basically, that I suggest that people can do to counter this new algorithm stuff. Okay, so number one, if you're somebody who makes ASMR content, like for example, just relaxing things like a nice fireplace or sound of rain or that kind of content, make a like a pinned comment in your stream to please say that due to the new algorithm, I would really appreciate if you would, click on this video every so often. Otherwise, they're going to act like you as a watcher is just a bot. Please, if you would appreciate, if you consider doing this, something like that. For people who are live streaming and then they end their live stream, okay, maybe before you start your live stream, again, pin comment and say, please, consider sharing this video. Because if you're sharing the video, even if like another platform or something like that, you might get other people engaging. But, just make them aware that they need to I would actually discourage people from clicking on your long videos because especially, okay, so here's the thing. If a lot of people are going to just show support to other channels and you're just going to leave a content, if you know that you're not going to watch that whole video and it's a long video, don't click on that. That is hurting their channel. If they have shorts, if you want to support them, just click on a short video. Even if you've already watched that video, click on it again and watch it again. Because if you click on somebody's long video and you don't watch it, even if you watch it for a couple minutes, it's just like you're slapping them and hurting their channel. So I would definitely tell people to please don't click on your long videos if they're not planning to watch it. Just kind of just make your viewers aware. Just share with them, kind of in a positive tone. Just share with them, hey, if you could really help me out, if that, if you're not going to watch my videos, please, just don't click on them. Click on something shorter. Make sure you keep short videos. If you're not somebody who does short videos, put short videos out on your channel, because if you get short videos and they have like higher organic views, that itself might increase your score on your channel. But the more that people are clicking on your longer videos, especially if somebody doing a long video and then they're not watching it, that is going to make your score go down, 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 and stay down. So the more, it's all about, the end word here is retention, retention, retention. You want people to click on your video and stay on it as long as possible. So make sure you have shorter videos out there for those who want to support your channel and just show you love or whatever. But the main thing for YouTube, that a goal should be for every content creator, if you're actually really wanting to grow as a channel, is to make content that is a type of content that YouTube can put ads on that people are watching. And again, because this is a double-edged sword, because now that even those who are just watching your content, okay, because it's such good content, right? You have to let your viewers know, please, please click on this video, okay? Or give me an interaction, just because, just mention the new algorithm and what it's doing to content creators as often as possible, just to keep reminding people, and it's sad that we have to beg for interaction. It's ridiculous, like that, right? That they're just watching. Yeah, so I just rather people not even, I'm going to tell you something that just happened, and I'm not going to complain against my viewers because I'm very thankful for my viewers. But I had my dog passed on December 5th, and I was really sad about it, and he was 15 years old, 9 months. So I noticed it. I did a video about it, and I was very clear in the title that my dog died. And I could tell that some of the people didn't even pay attention to what my video was about. And like to the point where they left rude comments. But, I love them anyways, but it's very important for me to know that somebody's not just clicking on my video, that they're actually engaged in it. So I try my best to actually make content that is like worthy of viewing. But getting your video into that bigger crowd of viewers is where it should be people's go. If you're truly trying to grow as a channel, the TV watchers And the people who are not even signed in, getting your traffic into that flow is the goal if you're really truly wanting to grow, because there's way more many people that's not even signed in that's viewing, but we little bitty channels are getting such small amount of that traffic. If you look at your analytics and you see the content that is saying that no, don't, unknown traffic, that's the viewers who aren't signed in. And that amount of traffic needs to go up on your channel. So just focus on those things, and I'm going to end here. I thank you all so much for stopping in, and I would just, knowledge is power, people. I don't know how else to say it. Knowledge is power. Make your viewers aware, and I'm going to do a little bit more research and stuff on this, but yeah, just letting people know. Okay, just letting them know. And like Google, even Google Gemini suggested, to have them interact maybe you know, every few minutes or whatever. And if you can use the tool of creating chapters on your video, it suggests doing that also, so that, if people are clicking to different chapters, and you can ask people, to click to different chapters, that's showing engagement, but yeah, whatever you do, don't use the mouse clicking app, okay? Because they've already got tools to detect that. Roblox is way ahead of that, and I'm sure Google's right neck to neck with them, so just beware. Don't even go there. Anyways, I hope you have a blessed day. I'll probably be live streaming tonight, 7 p.m. Oklahoma time, so maybe you'll stop in. I will be checking in on your channel also, and I hope you have a blessed day.